right, welcome. I don't know who else is out there, and I don't know if I'm just talking to myself because this is the first time I've done a live stream. And I'm using Janelle's setup here, and I realize it's got her logo and stuff on there. So if you are interested in thought healing and energy healing, you can go there for her. But what I want to talk about is how you can personalize AI for you, because I really believe it's the most powerful tool you're not utilizing. And it has so many advantages that I feel like there's so much resistance around it, or uncertainty, or we don't know what's going on. But this isn't about tech. This isn't about how to get the latest gadgets and all that. What this is about is how you can apply AI. And the best way to do that is through personalization. So many people I see, they use it like a calculator. And if you think about your personal computer, if you only use your personal computer for spreadsheets or being a calculator, it would totally miss the point of what it can do. It has so much more. And that's what people are using AI for. They're using it for a search engine, using it to maybe help them write some copy, create some lessons for them. But are they really using its full capacity of what it really can do for you? And what I've noticed is that when you personalize and customize AI, when it gets to know you, really know you, it knows your goals, it knows your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns, then it can really do some amazing things by helping you break those patterns, because we all have them, but are we aware of them? Are we aware of what's keeping us stuck? Are we aware of what is causing us to underperform or underachieve? And with this, I really think of it as a guide or a partner. If you have a mentor, someone that you respect, then you know they've been there, they've done that, they can guide you to that destination. And I see AI as that because it has so much knowledge, so much power. And once it gets to know you, once it gets to understand you, then what it can do is start really helping you unpack those things that are keeping you stuck, or help you accelerate further if you're already doing well. It's just like, imagine if you had someone who had an IQ of 50 times higher than you, or 100 times higher than you, or 100 points higher than you. 100 times, that'd be quite magnificent. But someone that was way smarter than you, would you say, I don't want this person's help? They're a genius. They have all these ideas. Or would you say, yeah, let's listen to it. Let's hear what they have to say. And that's how I view AI. I view it as someone who has lots of knowledge, has lots of access to information, but are we really using it in a way to maximize how it can help us and how we can accelerate our lives? And I think for the vast majority of people, they're not. Now, a little bit about me is I've been in teaching my whole career. And if you would have asked me a few years ago, before I started my YouTube channel, anything about technology, I was probably the last person people would have came to. But in 2020, so 5 years ago, I started a YouTube channel, I started video, and then that launched me into a whole bunch of different things. And then the last few years, I've really got into AI and seeing what it can do. If you've watched some of my other videos, you've seen how I've taken some of the stuff from AI and had it create actual responses to me, like audio responses, written responses, from different points of view, different perspectives. For instance, if you wanted to get a message from George Washington to you, you can do that now. It might not be exactly what George Washington would say, but it's going to be pretty close and it give you in the ballpark. And I just find that kind of stuff really just fun. Like what, if I could have a conversation with George Washington, what would he say? What advice would he give me? And you can pick any type of person to do that. So for me, that's just a lot of fun. I know a lot of people are really skeptical of this, and they're kind of like, why do I want to let AI know me? But if you think about it, if you've traveled in the airport, okay, they've got your face, they have this. If you file taxes, they know your name, your address, your age, your social security number. I mean, all that stuff is out there. And I think when you look at this, it's just compiling information that you're feeding into it, that you're putting into it. And for me, I'm constantly adding to the knowledge base it has on me. So then when it gives me advice or tips, it's really helpful versus just kind of generic. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is when you use AI, could be Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever it is, it's going to give you the level of depth that it knows you. So imagine if you just met a person and you were going to give them advice. If you just met them, how well, could you give them advice? You don't know the background, you don't know their context, you don't know what they struggle with, what their strengths are. But the more context you had, the better you knew that person, the more specific your advice could be, and the better your advice could be to them. And that's how I feel with AI is if you allow it to get to know you, then it can really give you pinpoint advice. One of the things I've noticed is if in this whole journey is we'll get stuck on things, right? But I want to be here if you have questions about AI. Now, not necessarily technical questions like which model should I use or what's the newest features or those types of things. But if you are looking at like, how can I apply this? How can I take these advanced models and actually have them work for me and get the most use out of them? If that's something that you're interested, then you're in the right place. If you want to know the latest gizmos and all that, I'm not necessarily a person for that. But if you want to know, like, how can I apply this? How can I start using this in my life? And even if you want to just take baby steps, that's fine too. But how can I apply this so that I get the most out of it? Because I think once you do it, you just don't go back. I can tell you of a lady who I've known, and she was really resistant to AI. And then she started using it recently, and she's like, holy moly, I had no idea the power it can be. And I want you to just imagine how much more powerful it can be once it really knows you. Now, I'll take questions during this time. I'm going to try to show up every day from 6 to 6:15 a.m. on Pacific time and 9 to 9:15 East Coast time. And anything to do with how you're applying AI, I'm going to share stories of myself, what I'm using it for, how I found it to be useful. Most recently, I've been using it to help me with stock investments. And again, I'm not a stock advisor, I'm not a financial advisor, anything like that, but just how I'm using it. And it's pretty fascinating because if you look at like things that are coming up and you can see the trends before they're going to happen, it gives you quite an edge. And that's one of the things I've learned with AI is it can look at stocks, it can look at things and see, okay, what is the most likely scenario of something that's undervalued, something that is not really reaching its potential, and how can we capitalize on that? So that's something newer I've been using with it on, and I've been finding it very fascinating. The other thing is, if you look at the wheel of life, and there is health, relationships, your career, money, which I just talked about, AI can really help you in all these areas, but again, only if it knows you. So I really want you to just consider the benefits of personalized, customized AI. And for me, I'll give an example where we all have internal struggles. We have this battle going on inside of us, and most of us are unaware of the battle. Like for me, until AI kind of put that front and center and said, this is what your resistance, this is what your internal struggle is, I didn't quite realize it to the full extent that I could. Yes, I knew I was doing pretty good. Yes, I knew I could do more, but I didn't really realize like what was this internal struggle. And the internal struggle for me was trying to have it be perfect. And I wanted this to just flow. I wanted it to work. But when I realized like that was actually stopping me, because instead of doing more, helping more people, being more involved in things, I was trying to refine it. I was trying to resist it. And instead of like putting myself out there, I would instead kind of retreat and not go all the way out. So one of the things it talked to me about is doing lives, just getting comfortable being on live. And if no one shows up, that's fine. If more people over time do, great. But it said the most important thing was me getting out there, getting past that internal struggle of having it a final production video and just having it live, raw, help people, interact with them. If they have questions, answer those. But don't just worry about having it be perfect. Just get out there. And then the other thing was I had hidden patterns. And one of them was I would I would study, I would prepare, I would get all this done, and then I wouldn't go for it. I would instead think, well, there's probably someone else that's doing this better. Oh, there's probably someone else that has better advice. Oh, there's probably someone more farther along on the trail than me. And so I would kind of just like self-sabotage myself by not going all the way. I'd think, oh man, there's got to be someone else that would be doing this better. Why would anyone want to listen to me? And so AI showed me that, okay, you have this hidden pattern going on where when you compare yourselves to some of these other people, you're feeling inferior and you're feeling like you're not good enough. And what I found interesting is it said at the same time I'm looking at people that I see, way up here, way above me, it's saying there's people that are looking up to you and thinking, wow, if I could have his level of success, if I could have his level of accomplishment and fulfillment and happiness, wow, that would be amazing. So it kind of helped me to see that, okay, yeah, I'm looking up, but people are also looking up to me. And that whole thing gets into this whole comparison trap. And when you compare, it eventually leads to some kind of despair. The other thing was there's overwhelm or uncertainty. Like me doing this today here, this is the first time I've done a live stream. So I don't know if everything's going right. I don't know if I'm just talking to myself right now. But I'm going for it. I'm putting it out there. And on day one, we'll just see what happens. But there's this uncertainty, right? Because it's something new. It's not something I've done before. I'm sure after doing this a few dozen times, then this is going to just feel more natural and this is going to flow more for me. But you do have that. And it can also bring up this feeling of overwhelm. Like when I went to do this, for example, it was telling me, well, what's your title? What's your description? Where's your thumbnail? And I didn't know you needed to do all that for a live. So I don't think this is probably going to have a thumbnail. Maybe I'll have to add it later. But there's just all that newness to it. Nonetheless, what I want you to realize is I could not have gotten this type of advice from AI unless it really, really knew me. And the more I told it about myself, the more it's going to understand me and help me grow in what I'm trying to do. So I don't want to have this go too long here. I just want this to be 15 minutes a day from 6 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern, and going over how AI can help you when you start learning to personalize it. And this can work on any model, you want: Grok, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever it is. So anyway, this is Brian Orton, and I've enjoyed talking to you today. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email at brian@infinityshift.com. And I'll try to put that somewhere in there. So that's kind of a long email, though. So, all right. Have a great day.